What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome back to another episode of the. I've got noises in my ear. Too loud, too loud, too loud. What's going on? That's a meat issue. Flecknology, yeah. Flex is busy looking for a pen that actually works. My pen always works. However, you probably noticed the last couple of days I ain't had my pen. Yeah, I don't know where it's gone. I'm looking for a pen that's actually here, not that works. It's just
Do you
in
not
the
have a
room.
pot of them? Do you not have a pot of them nearby?
Oh, I'm not that. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
that.
you got
Experienced.
You got to have a pot of them nearby. Sometimes it's not even a pot; it's just a glass or a mug.
Just
You
just with them in there. That's
bunch
old
of
school, isn't it?
pens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you got to
Yeah,
do. Buy
pens, pencils, yeah.
buy a pack of pens, something like that. Just put them in there. You don't really ever use them. They're just there. They just make a desk. They kind of just complete a desk, really, don't they? You have your pot of pens, put it there, and then you look
It's
professional.
part of your accessories, isn't it? It's just around you, yeah. I should invest in I say invest, basically get a mug from downstairs and put some pens in it, which I don't easily do. Don't need to invest in anything. I have it all now, yeah.
Probably go to a pound shop, something like that. Get biros for £1.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot to talk about. More so, me and Owen wanted to get into our bags of just not debating each other, right? But just having a little bit of a chat. Because sometimes when the news is a bit dry, yeah, you can search for things that are just hanging on by a thread or, clinging onto a story to try and make a story out of a non-story. Not interested in that rubbish. Never have been. We'll talk about reports that are actually reports from the people who matter. But when there's nothing really, when it's a bit dry, we just get honest. We use it as a chance. It's quite refreshing, actually, to just talk about what we want to talk about and just talk about the squad, talk about how we see this thing going with Eric Ten Hag. And he's, in my opinion, I think he's going to change massively. I want to see how you guys feel about that. A lot of people are like, listen, I don't think he's going to change a damn thing. I don't think anything's going to change. So we're going to talk about Ten Hag's, the changes that he's potentially going to make, the new staff update. Obviously, Van Nistelrooy's been approached as well. We'll talk about that. I want you guys to get involved. We've got the first member who's joined today, John James, the latest member of the UV Members Club. Let's see who is the first person to put a members chat as well. And see who the first person is to put a super chat as well. Obviously, get those read out straight away. 3:11 in Bangkok right now, says Sean, with the heat face, hot. Listen, well, it feels like it's that hot here in England right now as well. It is roasting. These are now out. Yeah, the little fans.
Don't start, Fleck. You open up the conversation. It turns into the competition once again. Of no, it's hotter where I am. No, it's hotter where I am.
Good. Let it be a competition because it's going to be 28 today. Match that.
No. Then you get people in other countries saying, "That's me walking around here." I don't know what you're talking about. Then you try and explain. You go, well, obviously it's it's the housing situation here. Humidity is maybe a little bit different. And they go, humidity where I am.
Yeah,
it's just
you ain't got a clue, mate.
I think unless everyone's like melted into a puddle on the side of the road, people are gonna be like, see. I dealt with that heat. It's a very strange competition. The weather, isn't it? But there you go.
It is. Right, let's get into it. Actually, to be fair, we've answered those questions. Well, one of them, the first person to send in a members chat, is the brand new member in John James, who says, "Good morning, Flex and Owen." Good morning to you, John.
Wow,
thank you.
Not a brand new member. Been a member for 17 months. 17 months, Fleck.
Oh yeah. So why does it say?
Sometimes
member new. Oh, just because it's renewed today.
Well, sometimes if you change payment method, sometimes or you get a new card or something like that. Sometimes that's
my bad. I didn't read because obviously I just saw it just said new member, so I just looked at what.
It's got a gold badge. There is a new badge as well, by the way, for people that have been members for I think over 2 years. I'm not sure what the color is, but there is a new one. I know Josh has added in a new badge, so you're getting new badges the longer that you stick around for.
Big up. 35 degrees here, says Red Devil. You got to walk around in your pants in this country, says Simon McGill. Pull up to Dubai, you'll learn a real definition of humidity, says Prentice. 100%. I know that for sure. Kenny Football TV has been around for 50 months. Says big up Flex and Owen. Good news regarding on Ruud van Nistelrooy, but we need to get signings done ASAP before pre-season. That is one thing at the top of our list as well. We want to do. We want to ask you guys. Get your chats in via, if you're members, obviously use your priority chat. Obviously get involved in the comments. Ryan's just come through as well. What do you think about this Ruud van Nistelrooy thing, actually, in total? Now we're moving away from it, because me and Owen touched on it a little bit yesterday, but not really as long as we'd have liked to, of like, break down like the actual credentials of Ruud as a coach, how it will galvanize the squad, the sort of correct respect he would command, versus well, actually, would this work? You know, sometimes people coming back, does it always work? Are we trying to just put a wand and just get the old guard in because they demand respect and hope that it has this positive influence, when in theory, we should be assembling something different? Because I guess there's going to be a lot of mixed feelings. I mean, social media was pretty one-sided. Everybody seemed, that I saw on my timeline anyway, was gassed that Rude's coming back. But what do you guys think? I want to see what you guys say on this. Ryan says, you can do it whenever during the month. I'll do mine as an example. Been a member for a few weeks, but never used this. Good evening, lads. There you go. There you go, mate. There you go. You used it now. You used it now. Big up to you, Ryan. Right. Yeah, Owen, I mean, how do you feel about the roofing? Like, it's definitely a positive because it makes everyone feel good. So it's a positive start, right?
Yeah, I think it's positive. I mean, we spoke about it a bit yesterday, didn't we? But I think that, you know, when you're looking at things and looking at Manchester United last season, and obviously, I think the majority, not everyone, but the majority clearly were happy that Erik ten Hag was going to be staying. But I think it would be quite naive of INEOS, really, just to be like, okay, well, let's just write last season off as it was all just very, very unlucky. There's nothing really to fix here. A couple of transfers and we'll be up and running. I think it's much more real, you know, and we'll put much closer to the real situation, which is, right, okay, there are things that we like here and things that we think do work, but there's also a lot here that we think doesn't work, you know, and there's lots of things that still do need to be changed. Now, Eric, as Sir Jim said, good coach. He's a good coach, so we're keeping him around. But at the same time, there may be issues with the coaching staff. There are issues with recruitment. There are issues outside of Erik ten Hag, i.e. the medical department. There are issues with the training ground. There are issues with certain players and their futures, whether it is Mason Greenwood, whether it is Jadon Sancho. And I think you would look at last season, wouldn't you, and just go, well, okay, there's a lot here that needs to be fixed. We're not saying that the coach needs to be fixed, but we are saying that there are lots of different things here that need to be fixed. And that would be, again, a disservice to say, well, we're bringing in Ruud van Nistelrooy. That's going to fix everything because it's not. But I think it is wise of INEOS to look at the stuff and just go, well, again, we need to figure some stuff out here. We need to change some things. We're not going to make the biggest change that we possibly could do, which is change the manager. But there are caveats here. There are things that, as part of these talks about a new contract, going, all right, okay, your title's going to change a little bit. Your you know, your backroom staff, we think you're going to need to tweak that. Again, recruitment, you're going to have to change. So it's, as the thumbnail kind of says, isn't it? It is time for change at Manchester United. We can't stick with what. Look at all the changes happened already when it comes to the you know, key figures in the club, whether it's chief executive, whether it's sporting directors, technical directors, what have you, chief financial officer. There is certainly a viewpoint of INEOS of, if you keep things exactly the same as they have been for the last decade, you will get what you've got for the last decade, which has been largely mediocrity and a financial black hole. So to rectify that, to change that, there's got to be some uncomfortable conversations. There's got to be some quite wholesale changes. And, you know, Ruud van Nistelrooy clearly is going to be part of that. And again, that's kind of tied into Erik ten Hag's new contract too, of saying, all right, we want to keep you around, but we're keeping you around with this vision in mind. And it looks like Eric's largely bought into that vision, but there's going to be some things that he wants to. And like we spoke about before, how is he going to feel about possibly a bit of restructuring of the people around him? You know, he's loyal to Mitchell van der Gaag. I think they were saying van der Gaag's contract does expire at the end of the month, along with Benny McCarthy. So,
really?
Well, that's what
Van der Gaag's expires now, but Eric's doesn't.
That's what I don't understand.
I mean, that's very interesting. I was going to check that out. I mean, that would be interesting. Imagine
we know that Benny's
going somewhere. Yeah, that's sad. I mean, imagine going.
He's in contract to 2025.
I was going to say that can't be, because it's impossible. Because if you go there with your manager,
but then once again it raises the question, doesn't it, about, because the reports yesterday were Ruud van Nistelrooy is coming in as an assistant.
Yeah.
And you go, well, we've already got 2. So we're going to have 3 assistant managers, which again would be unusual, but not impossible.
But this is what we're talking about in terms of the INEOS changing things. And that's where it's fascinating to see, because we don't know what this thing's going to look like. We don't know the details yet. We don't know how INEOS will change this. We don't know exactly what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. but something has to change. Something does have to change, because INEOS is telling us it's going to, and we're clearly seeing that with Ruud van Nistelrooy even being brought in, and Ruud to come in and just, Ruud's not going to be a bloody player liaison officer, is he? He's not going to be, which we were speculating before the news came out yesterday, probably 2 days ago now, but like, be a bit unusual if he just came in as a striker coach. No disrespect to Benny, but like, you know, for Ruud to go from head coach at PSV, have a year out of the game, want to get back into it, and then just be a striker coach at Man United, that would even suggest to me that that's a very short-term thing, just to keep himself ticking over until he goes and gets a job this year, because he's got a great relationship with the club. And INEOS might say, actually, he'd be good to have about the place, elite environment, striker coach, but in the contract is, you know, you can go off and take a main job, because I just think that Ruud would be more ambitious than that after having a taste of management and winning at PSV. And again, it's not to belittle Benny, but they're on different paths, aren't they? So I didn't see that. And then we're seeing that he's supposed to be coming in as an assistant. So we're like, well, what's going on with Mitchell van der Gaag? And like you said, Steve McLaren. So there's going to be some form of like extra shakeup that we either didn't see coming, or we finally get the finer details. And be like, wow, that's okay. So there's no Mitchell van der Gaag or Steve McLaren, bloody hell. So it's Eric and Ruud steering this ship, or Steve McLaren might drop to they might alter his role.
That's
to
possible.
Player liaison. I don't know,
That's
like
possible.
Not player liaison, just some, you know, that just make up a title that's basically, it's for your experience. We still need him about the place, but
he's not on the bench anymore. He wears a suit.
You're not on the bench anymore. Yeah, you're more in the background, you know, and there's stuff going on at Carrington. You know, you pop into Eric's office. I'll tell you what, Garnacho was having a little chat with Cobby earlier. The lads weren't really happy about that. So have a little look at that. You know, basically snitch of the group. The teacher, isn't it? The teacher's assistant. Maybe it's more that. I will say that Aminor, actually, John James says, I've actually been with you before, Owen, joined, but I also saw you on United Stand. And when KG was left to the couch live on his stream by his missus, that's funny. So John James has been with you already, Owen, you're saying? Been with you and seen you on United Stand as well. Big up John James. Yeah.
Before I joined, but with you before I joined.
Oh, with me, been with you before Owen joined. I thought it was about you as well.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, big up John James, man. That's it, bro. You've been from the originals, bro. Originals. Do you know what I mean? Here on this channel, you know, when it was called The Flex. If you know, you know. You know what I mean, Owen? If they know, they know.
If they know, they know. Yeah.
Who was here when it was The Flex? And if you was, a little bit of trivia for you, give me one video that you saw. You know what I'm saying? Big up The Flex. I want to see in the chat who's real.
I was lucky I was just going to say something. I was lucky I was going to spoil that one.
Well, yeah, maybe, you know, let it build up, you know.
Yeah.
Let us know. Let us know what you think about The Flex as well. Aminor says, Owen, I'm calling out Joe Blackman, Kristen, and Ten Hag Defence League. Where are they now, given the change in Man United's backroom staff? Ruud is our next coach in line. I'll tell you what.
You know what? Honestly, you know what? Yeah. And this is... It was funny, actually, because obviously all that stuff that happened Friday with the Trinity or whatever. But I don't know about you, and maybe it's just I've woken up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. But I am so over that conversation of, like, you know, Ten Hag in and Ten Hag. Like, I wanted to leave it in the past anyway.
League is still there, Kristen's there. Look, Joe Blackman, they're there.
I wanted to leave it in the past anyway. You know, the season's over. Ten Hag staying. We're now talking about additions to the coaching staff, transfers, and all that kind of stuff. Can we prevent the bickering? Can we stop the bickering? The only reason the KG stuff happened is because he called us out of the blue about it. But, you know, I suppose if you are a member of the Ten Hag Defence League, you won. You know, it's that we can all collect. We can come together. What we definitely don't need is to move on to we need something else to argue about, Flex. What about the Van der Gaag Defence League?
We can't all just sit calmly. There must be something on the agenda to argue about.
The sequel is never as good as the original. You know what I mean? I don't know if the Van der Gaag or Benny McCarthy Defence League is going to have that stronger membership or be as a divisive issue. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. I mean, when it comes to about the original point that Aminor was making about the backroom staff, well, but that's what my point. That's what kind of my point was earlier on, isn't it? Of going, well, something's got to change. We can't keep everything exactly the same and hope things are going to be different, you know. And look, if Eric's going to stay, then he's going to have to adapt to those things too. And looks like that is going to be the case.
Yeah. Ryan says a 3-year Eric Ten Hag deal. What if Ruud van Nistelrooy is next in line in 2027? Again, we have spoke a little bit about that. Owen was bringing that to the forefront yesterday, saying, listen, there's also back of his head be thinking, if it doesn't go right for Eric, I could be in here. They might need an interim at some stage if I prove I can do it or prove my worth. Imagine that. Imagine Van Nistelrooy is the next Man United manager after Eric. That'd be crazy. Scars says, personally, I think they're micromanaging Eric Ten Hag, and it's disrespectful. Micromanagement never really works, especially when he's already doing a good job. And that balance between micromanagement and sort of evolution into a new Man United, Scars, I think is an interesting point. You're saying you feel like it's more micromanagement. It can come across like that because it's basically undoing some of the things that he signed up for them to be like, how the transfers are going to work, how his backroom is going to work, etc., etc. So you're right on that. But we also maybe shouldn't undercut Eric's willingness to be flexible, which is, what we had in the title, which was that, Ten Hag will adapt. Now, there's two reasons we can say he can adapt. One is because, of course he's going to adapt because he's going to lose his job otherwise. If he doesn't sign up or say yes to these changes, that's part of him staying, so he's gone. But also, why can't it be, devil's advocate, or just, it's a 50-50 thing? Why can't it just be that, he's learning as well? Last year went terribly wrong. Since he's been here, there's been things that, he will assess and say, well, that hasn't been good. This has been good. I want to keep that. They're probably right, actually. I've been a bit too hasty on this. And, he needs to change himself. And some of it is that Eric is actually still quite a young manager himself. And he's still learning. He can still change. Like, why can't it be that he's just willing to compromise on certain things to actually evolve himself with this team instead of, they're just kind of ruling with an iron fist, basically. And now he has to just do everything they say. But I take your point, though, Scars. Like, at this stage, because it's so early and we don't really know how in tandem or in unison they're working, you have got your back up a little bit to go, I just wonder what the real motivating factors for him staying are. Is it that, Eric just really badly wants to succeed at Man United so bad? He's like, listen, I don't care. I'll sign the thing. Yeah, but I'll still make it work because I just really want to manage Man United. Or is it like, no, I accept that. I could do that. And actually, maybe, what about Eric's really excited about these changes? What about he's like, I tell you what, finally, someone like Dan Ashford, I tell you what, someone like Jason Wilcox, tell you what, someone like Omar Barada know what they're doing. Oh, look, owners who were saying the standards here are shit. We need to change this. Owners that have just put 50 million into Carrington. As soon as I came into Carrington, I was like, bloody hell, can't we fix it up a little bit? They've done it straight away. Maybe Eric's seeing it as well as like I tell you what, this is exciting for all of us here. We're all on this journey together.
Yeah, well, also as well, I think he'd have experienced this when he was at Ajax, just going, Manchester United really are just moving towards the model that nowadays most clubs operate at, which is, again, these different sort of bureaucratic levels of, you've got the head coach, then you've got the technical directors and the sporting directors and the chief executives. That's just how it is. I watched an interview with Arne Slot the other day, his first one when he was announced as Liverpool head coach. And he was asked a kind of similar thing. Flex is muted. He was asked.
So what's he saying? Is he coming across well? Is he like? Is he anything like Eric when he talked? Like, is he? How was he?
What wasn't? Do you know what is it actually quite interesting? I looked towards the comments of that and I thought, I wonder what the Liverpool fans are making of him. And obviously, it was unanimously this guy.
Oh, they're lapping it up.
This guy's got such an aura, you know what I mean? And I watched and I thought, well, it's just really an interview, really. But he was asked, because they've done a similar thing. They've restructured. He's the head coach and he works with their technical director, which I think is Richard Hughes, that they got from Bournemouth. And he was asked about that in the interview, going, so you're head coach, you're Liverpool head coach, not the manager. How do you think about that? And he went, there's no real difference. He went, most clubs now, that's how they operate. You focus primarily on the training pitch and the first team. And then, he said about dividing time. He said, it's just really about dividing time. He goes, I'm more dividing my time based on the first team and the coaching and tactics and stuff like that. And he goes, that's maybe about, forget the percentages he's used, but let's say like 80% of the time. And he said, in the other 20% of the time, I'll be working with the technical director about recruitment and about other things, which when I heard him say that, I thought, well, that's probably similar, one would think, to what Eric Ten Hag will be experiencing at Manchester United this season, which is the bulk of time is based on just the tactics, just the first team, just the coaching and things surrounding that. But it's not as if he's going to be cut out. I think when people hear the stuff about recruitment being dialed back, I think the fear is that it's Eric's going to show up at Carrington. There's just going to be new players there that he's like,
where did this guy come from?
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
What? But she is still going to be involved. It's just to a lesser extent, maybe, as he would have been previously. Maybe previously he was really heavily, having talks with the player, with the agent, that kind of stuff, and being really involved side by side with John Murtough. Maybe it's going to be a bit lesser, but he's still going to have a voice in that situation because you have to. You are going to be working with them on a daily basis. But yeah, and again, it goes back to what I've said a few times already, which is just, I wouldn't disagree that, he's done a good job first season, top 4, won a trophy. Second season in the league, it was pretty pitiful, wasn't it? But won a trophy in the end. But then you have to say to yourself, are you happy? Are you happy winning, trophies every year? Yes. But what we're looking for longer term, again, is that Premier League, is that Champions League. To get there, can you keep things as they are and just assume they're going to get there? Or do you want to, like people have said, give Erik ten Hag the best tools to succeed? And by doing that, that's having people come in and really do their job that they're brought in to do, really, isn't it? So I don't know if that's micromanaging. I think that's just evolution, probably.
Yeah. And that's what it seems like. A lot of people getting involved in the chat, in the comments. Everybody's talking to each other, which is exactly the type of show we like. I'm gonna jump into the comments in just a second. What I will say is, you lot are smashing the show, by the way. 1,400 people watching already, 344 likes and counting. Over 1,400 people now. So do smash a like on the video. With 1,400 people, again, I want to say the 750, but let's just keep it in small increments. Let's just get to 500 straight off the bat. We're already at 350 now and counting. So you lot are bang on it, which is great. Really good show. Let's get to what some of the people are saying in the chat. Dwayne Rogers, who's a member, says, come on, Flex and Owen. I've never heard of a manager being given an assistant manager unless his number one leaves for a manager job. And Erik doesn't clarify Ruud was his appointment. Then Ruud is a snake. Ruud's just trying to get in there because he thinks that he can nick the job off Erik when it goes to shit. And Dwayne saying if Erik doesn't come out and clarify and say, yeah, no, they said Mitchell has to leave, who would you like? And I picked Erik. I picked Ruud. But I don't know how that would have gone. I don't see that. But yeah, interesting take. In response to one of the super chats from Aminor, who said, not going to lie, I would like Cesc Fabregas to join the Man United staff. Scars has said, Fabregas, an Arsenal legend, joining United for what? No way. Nem Greens then got involved and said, Fabregas is not right for United. Having worked in and around him, he will upset the dressing room. And so Ryan got super chat saying, INEOS doing their best to support mid-manager. No cheerleading will give him a style of play. Not my manager, but hopefully this is a proper do-over. So Ryan really against Ten Hag, saying, listen, they ain't going to change for him. And hopefully they're getting they're doing him over so that someone else can get in. From Ryan. David T says, it's funny how the same people predicting Ten Hag would get fired after the final are saying Ruud is his replacement. Ruud after a year at Feyenoord, LOL. PSV, no?
PSV, yeah.
PSV. Scar says, personally, okay, we read that one already. So hang on. So again, Owen, you talk about, not arguing, but so what it seems now I'm getting from not just our comments, but a little bit.
Snitch. He's a mob.
Is that Ruud is sort of, he's only, and that's why until until we get the clarity, until we see whatever the statement is, the club statement is, and like more from Romano or more from Ornstein, because to be fair, when Man United announced Ruud as back to the club, they're not going to say Erik really wanted him, or they're just going to say we're delighted to welcome him back and he will work alongside Erik as his assistant manager. They're not going to say what Erik wanted versus what he wouldn't. It's going to be the Romanos of the world and the Ornsteins and the people who can break that news to us over how this actually came about.
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah. I mean, when it comes to when he's asked, let's say Ruud does come in and Ten Hag's asked in the first press conference he does of the summer, which might be the one he does when on tour probably. When he's asked about that, or even if he's asked in like an in-house interview, he's hardly going to say, "No, never wanted Ruud, never liked him."
I don't know what he's doing it.
Yeah, that was forced upon me. It's once again like we saw before Ten Hag was confirmed to be staying by Ornstein, in the absence of information, we have to start. We're like those AI generators, aren't we? We have to paint the space and figure out something. And I guess depending on your outlook is what image you end up getting. So if you've got a quite positive outlook, you look at it and go, this is great. Ruud van Nistelrooy is coming back, and he's a good coach and he can work with Eric and they can collaborate together and we can become the best, version of Manchester United we can. I suppose if you've got, a bit of a skeptical outlook, that turns into, it's just been set up to fail now, Eric. He's being given people that he doesn't want. The INEOS are against him. They're so against him that they're giving him a new contract. Yeah, I mean, I look at change is a funny thing, isn't it? Change can be positive or negative. It can also be unsettling, can't it? And I think maybe that's part of it too, is that there is a weariness to INEOS, which I think is justified because our relationship as fans with ownership at Manchester United is non-existent. So we're again looking at them going, we're scarred, aren't we? So whenever the owners or a minority owner or whoever, someone in a position of power gets involved, we sort of go, oh, is this going to be a good thing? Is this going to be a bad thing? But I do think in this regard that change is very much needed, and it will be, and I think it will be in the long term a good thing. I know that. And this is what I said during those weeks where we didn't know what was going on with Eric Ten Hag. I still believe that those people that have been brought in, the Omar Barada, the Dan Ashworth when he comes in, the Jason Wilcox, long term for Manchester United, that is a really positive move. It is. I know that hinged upon whether they made decisions that people agreed with or not, but I do think that is a positive thing. The structure being changed at Manchester United,
that's a positive.
Is greatly overdue, and
we just need it to work. Like that, well, the people that they choose, obviously,
and we need a buy-in.
We need time.
We need a buy, and that's also a thing. I think people are looking at something that they do fairly quickly that they go, right, okay, cool, more of this. I want more of that, and we're naturally impatient too. So the time's ticking. If we're here in a month's time, we haven't made a sign in. We're like, here we go again. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. So I get it that people are naturally, skeptical, but I do think they're positive moves. As far as again the Ruud thing, again we just don't know. We just don't know. If it did come out that INEOS went, you're having Ruud van Nistelrooy, you'd be like, oh, I don't know about that. Or it could be a situation of we've approached Ruud van Nistelrooy, we like him. Are you happy to work with him? If Eric says yeah, cool.
Yeah, but and did he? Am I muted? No, I'm not. Did he say? Oh, I don't know. Or did he just agree straight away? I said, yeah, no, I know him. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Obviously, good to have about it. Yeah, I'm for that. Go and do what you need to do. Because he could be really tentative, be like, oh, I don't want to push too hard. They've obviously sounded him out. That could have been one of the first things they really, really disagree on. We don't know. Another thing about Ruud, before we kind of move on, is I wonder how much influence he can have over Eric in his current form. So say like Ruud with what he brings for Man United, he'd be like, mate, I've been here, know what it takes to win. Mate, I played with Beckham, mate. I played with Scholes, played with Jet. I know what the fans are asking for. We need to, we need to be on the front foot. We need to do this. Say he comes with these ideologies of what the old Man United was. And I'm not saying Ruud's naive enough to just walk in there and say, well, back in my day, it was like this. Obviously, he's been a manager in this generation. It's not the Ruud from 01, 02, where he walks about the place saying, well, what's this? You know what I mean? This is rubbish. He knows that. But if he suggests to Eric, in my experience of the Premier League, you've got to be like this, and I think we should do this. How much would Eric collaborate with that if it's not Mitchell van der Gaard?
But also, we're assuming, and this is the other leap that we're not really considering. Are we genuinely assuming that Ruud van Nistelrooy is just going to show up at Carrington, having never spoken to Eric Ten Hag prior to accepting this job?
No way.
I mean, he'd be working with him on a daily basis. If he's part of Eric Ten Hag's coaching staff, minimum, there'll be at least a meeting, a discussion beforehand going, hey, what's your... Because if you're Eric and you're the head of this coaching staff, if he had a meeting with Ruud van Nistelrooy that didn't go particularly well, then he could go to, INEOS and be like, look, I had a meeting. We're on way different wavelengths. I'm fine to bring another coach in, but I think the personality clash isn't going to be there because, again, from INEOS's point of view, they want a coaching staff for people that don't get on or aren't aligned in terms of their coaching methods. So they'll be part of those. He'll be part of those conversations. He would have to be, wouldn't they? Imagine someone started, we got a new presenter on the channel that's never spoken to you before. And they just showed up and you go, well, I'm not really sure about that. Yeah. You'd be like, what? What's going on there? Like, you would have to have those discussions. So again, I think it does stem out of just worry. You know what I mean? Just a bit of worry, just a bit of concern. I think that's maybe where it comes from. Is there something in the fact that it's a bit of a fail-safe for INEOS? Perhaps maybe it could be. And you could certainly see the scenario 6 months time, 9 months time. If it doesn't work out, Rude's there taking care, take a charge. Of course, that could be the case. But does that make him a snitch or a rat or anything like that? I don't know. I mean, heaven forbid, maybe he just wants to come back to Manchester United because it's, as they reported, it's a great challenge and a great opportunity. And as we've seen with other people, if they go and are part of a successful backroom staff, they can get an even better job. He's got, was it Burnley or not offered on the table at the moment? But if it goes really well, who's to say a Premier League club doesn't come calling or something like that? That could be what happens too. And Flex is no sound Fleck. He was moving leads, Flecknology. That, and also people were wondering earlier on why we were late as well. It was Flecknology moving all this. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Stupid. All I was doing was I just needed to charge my other laptop, so I just thought I'd plug it in. And I've done it, and then in the top right-hand corner, I know Owen's going to go, Apple, I told you. Wait, it just came up with iPhone microphone unavailable. What do you mean iPhone? What's that got to do with anything? Yeah. It's over there. Yeah. It's like this. Ridiculous.
Flecknology.
Absolute disgrace.
Flecknology.
I know, proper Flecknology. Also, Dan Sheldon was saying Man United remain in talks with Joshua Zirkzee representatives, and the club's interest is advanced. So that's basically as we were yesterday. Exactly. No change there. Let's get into the chat. Let's see what people are saying. WJ Barrett says, I'm back. 2 Bomber Clark years. I was at a dance. I want to be on the bill. I want celebrations. Big up Flex, Owen, and the chat. 200K party settings.
Yeah, and you can see the new badge that WJ Barrett there has got. It's like, what color would you call that, Flex?
Is that turquoise?
It looks kind of turquoise-ish. I mean, I don't know.
It's like a greeny blue. Aqua?
Yeah.
Is it called aqua?
Yeah, I don't know. Are there like were they, like wedding anniversaries, and you get like, as you get higher, you get different ones, like your diamond one or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if the badging system works like that.
Actually, teal's a good one. Teal,
yeah.
I've got a few trainers where teal, they've got that color in it, and it's
yeah.
Josh, aquamarine. Well, aquamarine, because Josh has probably got all the Photoshop names of all the real colors, what it actually is,
I was saying this last night on the match review. Have you seen this? There are these like videos on like Instagram, right? It's an account that does it, and they'll get like a series of colors, and sometimes they do it off like a famous character. So let's say it's Buzz Lightyear, and there's like green, white, and like a bit of blue or whatever, and they put all the colors together, and you have to guess what the color is going to be before it happens. And some of the colors that come out, I've never heard of in my life, Flex.
So they're just made up. But would you say, oh, that's blue or that's
blue?
Red,
that's blue, but they'll go, no, that's not blue. That's
that's magenta.
Like, well, no, they'll go, that's like deep sea oceanic blue,
right.
and you go,
okay, yeah.
But then occasionally you get one. Occasionally you'll get one. You'll go like, you won't say like pink, you'll go rose pink, and they'll go rose pink. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. And then it's terrific. Very good.
Oh, it's the little things in life,
Yeah, it is.
Joe Blackman's been a member for 14 months as well. And Joe Blackman says, I was away, but I heard my name. Aminor this season, no division. Ten Hag Defence League will be rebranded to MUVE, Man United versus everything. We must stay, I think it must be, stay United. I like that. So, Aminor, you've been calling out a few, saying, where are they now? This, that, and the other. Well, the leader of the Ten Hag Defence League, actually, let me not offend people, because then someone else can say, no, I was. One of the founding members of the THDL has just said to you, Aminor, and everyone else, We're rebranding. There's no such thing as the Ten Hag Defense League. We're called Man United versus everything. Okay, that's what we're called, and that is what we need. We all need to be on it together. I've got in my bag of sort of actually. I remember about a few weeks ago, I was saying, I just had that bit where I goes, remember, everybody hates us, like fully.
Well,
like,
do you know what, Flex? I'm so glad you brought that up because I had a whinge last night on the match view about this as well. England, yeah. So obviously, have you seen the big thing at the moment is the players are pushing back to the media.
Yes.
How dare you sort of say negative things about us during a tournament? And calling out ex-pros for doing it. The players are calling out ex-pros, going, "You've been in our position. Why would you say negative things about us?" And I went, "Wait a minute." Are we now having this conversation? Are we now having this conversation saying that some of these pundits are going too far, or some of these pundits and analysts are not sticking to tactics and are taking pot shots at certain players and whatever? I went, first of all, when it comes to England, play well first. That's kind of the criticism is over you playing well, not you not playing well. And secondly, so when you do it about non-English players or a non-English manager this season, fair game. If it's Man United, let's not even raise that topic. And as a Man United fan, if you raise that topic, it's you're just being really sensitive, blah, blah, blah. But suddenly, if it's about an English player during a tournament, that's a massive problem, Flex. We can't be having that. Not at all. Not at all. Particularly after we've played shit. That we can't. No, can't do that. Come on. Like
no,
what?
I thought the criticism that came from the ex-players, I thought was refreshing. It was honest, and I think. I saw Rio talking about this, and then I saw Shearer and Gary Lineker talk about it on their podcast the next day, or a couple of days later, whenever it was. And like Rio was like, "Well, I've been there as a player, so that like 100%, there's certain words that are going to trigger me as a player, and I'm going to defend my other players, the camp. I get that, but I also wouldn't be sort of out here, looking for praise after a bad performance. Like it's as simple as that." And the Declan Rice interview's really good. He's speaking really honest. But he says things that I think that are like, well, they're very tribal and indicative of like, if you want, within the camp, it has to be like that. Like I get like out loud, there's no way Declan Rice could be like, well, yeah, Trent, I don't know if he could play there. He's mainly a right back, so he has struggled, this, that. No, you have to like deflect everything off. The media's on us. The fans are on us. Like, I got your back, bro. Like, come with me. Like, you're an unbelievable player. What you could do on the ball is an absolute joke. Where he's got, well, half the country wanted him to start there and this, that, and the other. And when you go down that, for me, I just thought, well, I'm in the other half. I didn't. Like, it just creates more, But if I'm honest, as a fan, I'm like, I expect him to do that. Harry Kane,
I thought his answer was good. I thought Kane's answer was pretty good.
It was good. I mean, at the end of the day, he's saying, "Remember that you didn't win it. Essentially, you've been here and known what it's like." But really, that I think that matters that he didn't win it. If a player, they're paid to give their opinion, right, exactly, and their analysis on what they see now in that 90 minutes. If we cross over to Gary Lineker and they like what they did when they threw it to him, and they said, "Gary, what do you think? You've played at Barcelona and who else was he at? Leicester, Spurs? I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, you're a legend of the game, right?
Everton.
You're a legend of the game. You played at the highest level. As we're talking about Harry Kane, let's ask you. You're a specialist on this panel. We ain't got a clue about playing striker at the highest level. You do. And he went, yeah, I'll tell you what, mate. If I'm Gareth Southgate, I have to ask Harry for more because of the, and I'll tell you why. Proceeds to show how the mechanics, what you need to do when you're not involved in the game. Brilliant analysis. If we would have thrown a baton to him, then he would have said, well, I'm sure Harry knows he could do better next time.
That annoys me more because they've done that.
That's just a load of bollocks.
They've done that before. And again, that's the thing that frustrates me in that previously when it comes to Gareth Southgate. And again, this is the problem with some of these England players too. Let's not pretend like they haven't been protected by certainly their friends in the media for the last several years, because they have. Look at some of the ways they were talking about them going into the tournament.
Best team.
And I think
squad.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans were saying you're putting them actually on way too high of a pedestal. They shouldn't be there for that. And like I said, to steer it back to Manchester United, I'm looking at it going, I feel like if there's ever a fan base that's had this conversation about the line between criticism and going too far, we've had it way more than anyone else, right? We've had it with the likes of obviously Rashford this season. We've had it with like Pogba in the past. We've had it with a bunch of different players. Harry Maguire. There's so often. That's just in the last couple of years. So we know the situation about criticism versus abuse or taking it too far. Now I think maybe the point of contention with the Gary Lineker stuff was on his podcast. He said the performance was shit. He said it was shit. That was the word he used. So people were like, well, you're not being constructive there. You're just saying mean words or bad words.
You're just saying what it was.
But again, from a consumer's point of view, from a fan's point of view, I looked at that one. Well, it's refreshing because it was. I can't look at that and go, well, that was great. And it's the same when it's been like in the case before with Manchester United players. When you've been critical of, let's say, Rashford's performances or Harry Maguire's performances or anything like that, it's because they've not been playing well, and people take it too far. And that's the problem with social media. And I thought that was a good answer that Harry Kane gave. And he said part of the problem nowadays, of course, is, back in the day, you had to deal with the front and back pages. Today, it's social media. Rio said this. Social media, it's at your fingertips all the time. The information is constantly. So it does feel like constantly just being hit with it. And that's shit. That is unfortunate. That is horrible. But at the same time, again, as a footballer and a professional athlete, you can't have it both ways of like, oh yeah, you can, praise me when I'm playing well and we're doing well. But when things get quite bad and I deserve criticism because I'm not playing well, the team's not playing well, the manager's not playing very well, we can't go, oh, come on, we shouldn't be doing that. Like, as you mentioned, they're paid to give their opinion. And if they're not giving their opinion, people see through that straight away.
Shortchanging us. And you know what? I think if I was an England player, I can't tell them how to feel because, like I said, we've never been at that level before. But I would go down the route of these podcasters, people like us, social media guys on podcasts with microphones and this, that, and the other, making YouTube vids, or people on the radio or never played the game, that written media. Cool. Drop them out of it because they ain't got a clue what it's like to play at this level. But the people who have actually played at that level, if anything, if I'm an England player, they're the people I'm actually going to listen to. They're the people I'm going to say, right, why is Gary Lineker saying this? Why is, Alan Shearer saying this? Why is Rio Ferdinand? Why is Gary Neville? People who have been there, done it, worn a t-shirt and failed. Yes, fair enough. Why are they saying what they're saying? But also, it's not just about the international level, about them as players. They know what it is. They know that those guys have been at the highest level in football. So if they speak, listen. People like me and you, we've never played football. People who can't do 5 kick-ups, I ain't listening to them. Footballers do. I know for a fact footballers do that. Like, ex-pros, and I spoke to some pros even now in the game. They ain't bothered. Most of them sometimes laugh at, like, people with us, got our headphones on, we've got podcast mic, we're going, I tell you what, how's he done that? I'll tell you what, he's not scanning. Yeah, they go scanning. Mate, you can't do 5 kick-ups, mate. I ain't listening to you. Like, that's how some footballers do things.
And that's sometimes part of the problem, isn't it? Yeah. Because, obviously with us, but like, you're a fan if you, pay your money for your ticket and you sit in the stands and you give your opinion. If you're looked upon with, contempt, then that doesn't help the situation either, isn't it? Sometimes that's the problem. Fans want to be heard. And sometimes they feel like the players are so out of touch, because they do exist in this other bubble, don't they? Because they are multimillionaires. It's like you said, and sometimes it is the ex-pros are the only ones that can kind of pierce that bubble.
Yeah, people who have played the game at the highest levels are only playing
to kind of get into it. But I don't know. It just, when stuff like this happens, it does, that disconnect between, the current players and the media and then the fans just feels so bigger, doesn't it? And it's just, again, if you're going to push back on it now, okay, cool. But let's keep the same energy, because let's not pretend this is only happening in an international tournament. Perhaps, there's more eyeballs because it is an international tournament and everyone's focused on one team, one group of players. If you're an England fan, it's just boom. It's the whole country. But again, this happens a lot every single week. And you look at, particularly with Man United, the treatment in the final few months of the season from the media, it was ridiculous. It was outrageous. You look at, again, how Erik ten Hag was just constantly slammed by the media, even after he won a trophy. Or you look at certain players and their treatment of the media. suddenly that's fair game. But then heaven forbid it's about England during an international tournament. We should be ashamed of ourselves. It's like, what? And again, it always goes back down to, if you deliver on the pitch, if you put in good performances, if you are successful, all that stuff kind of stops. And even those that are criticizing you, you put two fingers up to them and you hold it, you medal up and go, well, there you go. You what Eric Ten Hag did. You go, you hold up your trophy and go, well, who's the winner here? It feels kind of like me. I'm good at holding the trophy.
Put it right. And all we did was criticize, like you said, a really poor, crap England performance. And that was the only analysis that could have come out of that game. Yes, the caveats of what the players should say, I get it, is we didn't lose. You know, the objective is to get out of the group. We've all but done that. And now without even playing, we have guaranteed that now because of yesterday, because of Albania. So we have because they lost to Spain in it. So that means that would be even by minimum.
We're guaranteed at least third place, yeah.
Yeah.
Best place third.
And the best place third. So, I mean, we shouldn't be looking to that. But, you know, even if worst case scenario, we got slapped 6-0 by Slovenia, would still go through. Yeah, I still think the players can't have it both ways. And I get it. It's going to be unbearable for them at times. They're in camp. They're feeling the pressure. But as long as they stay together and they use this energy, like Declan Rice was essentially saying, he goes, I'm sure against Slovenia, you know, we'll be ready, we'll be on the front foot, and show it. If they go and show a bit different to what was happening, and you know, now we're through as well, does Gareth change his squad a little bit? I don't know. I don't think he will. I think just that Conor Gallagher one will probably be the only one. Probably just roll it out exactly the same and say play better. But again, if we're already through, we see a lackluster, crap, average performance later on tonight. And we go,
there'll be criticism.
Well, there'll be criticism, you know.
That works.
But the players, I think, you know, he was drawing comparisons to, I think he said, I've been at 3 tournaments now, Declan Rice. And he was like, all of them have been the same. This is what's happened, you know, and we've got to the further round in all of them. So it's no different for us. This is what happens. We have a few stumbling blocks. We don't perform as well as we can do, but we get by, we get through, and we go from there. It's tournament football. And to some point, it's got a little bit of a point. If we do get to the semi-finals and finals, and the reason why we don't think we would win is not because, we got that draw against Denmark. It's because of the bigger thing of like when we play against good teams, Southgate's not going to do the right things. Players will probably get nervous and won't play with freedom. It'd be those things. Essentially, as long as you get the chance to get to the latter stages and do what you need to do, which is what we do. It's just that in getting there, it's not pretty, and it doesn't fill you with confidence, and then you know how it ends. That's I think you know how this ends.
The biggest crux of it is it's not. Let's not pretend the media don't take liberties. They do. You know, again, we saw United this season. We saw it, and it was actually refreshing towards the end of the season to see Eric Ten Hag ban journalists, call them out, and say, you know, we said the thing about Kobbie Mainoo. You build these guys up, one bad performance, and you try to tear them down straight away. And he's right. And I remember he did the interview when we were in the Champions League, and that guy said, another crisis as we like to see it. And he went, you like to see that? You like to see a club in crisis? Is that what you like to see? And he'd come, well, no, I didn't. You know. So let's not pretend that they don't, you know, they don't take liberties. They were doing that before the tournament with Kobbie Mainoo and with Bukayo Saka. And again, everyone knows what the situation was there. But again, you can't confuse that with not playing well, and then people go, well, "You were pretty rubbish today," and then go, "Can't say that." Of course you can. Of course you can. That's what you're there to do. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, as a Manchester United fan, when I hear them complaining about the media, you sort of just go, you know, that meme of the guy, and he's standing there and he looks around, and he goes, "First time." Really having to deal with that. That's what it's like. That's what it's like.
You see it all the time, mate. Exactly. Yeah. Joe Blackman's Aminor says Aminor says, did KG finish reading his football book? Have no idea, but with some of his takes recently and how he's always right about everything, maybe he has finished it.
Well, if it was part of his book club that he had on his channel, I doubt that maybe he had finished it. You know, he had to commit to a book club and then didn't really end up really going anywhere. The book club. It's a sore spot for him, the book club.
JP87 says, morning to all. Love to all the UV family. Big up to you, JP. Nice love for that. And Keegan, been member for 24 months, says, did someone say 2 Bomber Clark years? Big up the UV family and reckless delegates. Ten Hag Defense League. We're going to do this.
We're going to do this.
Going to do this.
I tell you what, I can't stop doing it. I can't stop doing it. It's taken over my life. Like when I'm doing some of those games or whatever, or just in general everyday life, it's something if I have to change my mind and do something, I'll start going, wait a minute,
Hold on, wait a minit. He was doing it yesterday to AGT when we was talking about Darwin Núñez. He was like, because AGT was like, oh, Darwin scored for Uruguay or whatever. He goes, yeah, but hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. You were saying he took down all his Liverpool stuff. He took down all the Liverpool stuff off his thing. And you said you didn't want him to stay. Robbie, no, I never said that. I said, no, wait, hold on a minute. Wait a minute. You said you'd be happy if he goes. Because no, Robbie, I didn't say it. And then they started arguing. It's just funny. It's so funny. David T says, Murta was head of performance before Woodward landed him a job as head of recruitment. So naturally, Ten Hag didn't trust him. He now has structure. So hopefully he relishes in that. And Andrew Edmund says, I genuinely think this is a masterstroke by INEOS. Gives the Ten Hag outers some hope over a potential future manager. Gets both the outers and the inners. Because that's what it is now. The outers and the inners. Even now, even though he's going to be our manager, we just got to crack on. It's still about the outers and the inners. On the same page. And both are Dutch. Big plus as well, says Andrew. So, yeah, that's your first super chat as well. So big up to you, Andrew. We got to just over 1,600 people watching. Got to 577 likes. I think we could do 600 on the way out.
Wait a minute. 600. Wait a minute. You said, wait a minute.
You're just going to do that all the time.
I can't stop doing it.
It is funny.
Honestly, I can't stop. Everything. Yeah. If you know, like sometimes you're just leaving, you're going out the house, and then you realize you got. You just go. I start saying out loud. I go, wait a minute.
Bloody hell.
Wait a minute.
It's really. Hold on a minute. No, hold on a minute. No, hang on. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Wait a minute. Flipping apologized yesterday on the show, didn't he? See him? Oh, mate. He goes, no. I have to say, I mean, this last week, you lot were saying about something. I was saying it's one game, relax. He goes, I got to apologize. He was like, nah. He's like, I mean, what we saw against them. Batiste, look at each other. We tried to tell him that last week. He goes, no, I got to apologize because I've seen the light. Nah, Southgate out.
I got to apologize. You know what I mean? I got to apologize. Wait a minute.
Honestly, at least they apologized. Wait a minute. No. I was like, well, hold on a minute. You said last week that we were overreacting. No, wait a minute. You said. Anyway. We're not waiting any more minutes. We're wrapping up the show.
It will stop you. It will I'll get caught in a loop of it for like 5 minutes. Wait a minute.
Later on tonight, there will be a Flex and KG show later on this evening before the England game. So get ready for that. And also again, live 7:50 p.m. The England game will be on as well. So
I'll be doing Group D and C today. There's two lots, of course. Yeah. There's a really exciting one. There's the Netherlands versus Austria, and there's also Poland versus France. And that group could end up in all different sorts of directions. Yeah. So
Josh could be crying in his car.
He will be.
Yeah, he will be. Absolutely.
He will be.
Hold that, Josh. Hold that. Yeah. Hold that. Thought he's going to win the league. Thought he's going to win the Champions League. Thought he's going to win the Euros. 1-0. Hold that, Josh. Yeah. Right, we're out of here. Take care, guys. Smash the like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you already do. Take care. Peace.